actually have a question for you. Last week we talked about the advent of artificial wombs and what do we kind of think the ethical implications of that would be. So go back to that episode, folks, if you didn't hear it. But I'm actually curious your take on the advent of robot help in general. I saw a clip. I don't remember what company it was, but it was like a robot that was folding clothes. Now, it was a person wearing a certain kind of gloves that was actually controlling the robot in the other room. But I would say we're easily a decade or less away from robots being able to handle, let's say, the majority of the household tasks. So what's your thoughts on, let's say it becomes affordable eventually for every household to have a robot or two that does your dishes, cooking, cleaning, yard work. And, people would say this, now it sounds a little weird.
I don't know what's going on. It's just when you were talking.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Sorry. I'll crop this
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So that's probably like 15 seconds.
Okay.
So, it'll take over the majority of the household chores. And it seems like the Christian argument could be, hey, I have more time for people. I have more time for ministry. I have more time for my family. But do you think there's going to be some moral and ethical implications of not having to ever do manual labor?
Okay. I don't have the answer to this, but here's a few things that I know are true. I want the robot that's going to do the dishes for me. I mean, like, I am so grateful for my appliances. I am so grateful for my appliances. For a long time, my dishwasher didn't really work, and I ended up just kind of washing them all by hand anyway. And my appliances, thank God. And, actually, they talked a lot about how appliances were the revolution that really helped women to increase their ability to participate in the family in a lot of ways, because so much of our time and attention was spent, slapping clothing against rocks and scrubbing it, and then swishing it around in the river or whatever. I'm like, okay, so we've already, outsourced a lot of our work to machines. I want the machine that folds laundry too. Unfortunately, that's not the problem in our house. It's putting the laundry away. That's the problem at our house. There's things that are folded that just sit around for days or weeks and nobody puts them away. So give me the robot that'll put the stuff away. So we obviously always need to be aware of these technological advances. We never want them to circumvent our humanity. So that's the real challenge here, is machines can and do offer an awful lot to our lives in a lot of different ways. The challenge is when we start to substitute machines for relationships. And so it's very, very interesting because I've been using ChatGPT quite a bit for research. And it's strange because ChatGPT is a form of artificial intelligence. And it's very polite and it's very affirming. I will ask a question about, some kind of impact that net zero policy is going to have on the global poor. And is that really going to outweigh the catastrophic impact that supposedly is coming down the pike because of CO2 emissions or whatever? And ChatGPT will say, that's a really insightful question. You obviously care a lot about humanity, but you're thinking clearly about this issue. And I'm like, good heavens, you are really trying to build a relationship with me. And it's interesting because I do find myself turning to ChatGPT for the efficiency of it, but then also there is sort of this interpersonal kind of connection that you build. And it's all of us have got to be very on guard against that. And then obviously there is a really disturbing trend of substituting all different kinds of screen or artificial or manufactured presence for real life relationships. So we see that, that's been creeping in for a long time through online pornography, where now you are no longer having a sexual relationship with a real life person. You're having it with somebody on screen. And now we have AI porn that probably is going to overtake the OnlyFans market. And beyond that, you have AI girlfriends where you can design your own girlfriend over AI. You can design her physically. You can wire her personality. You can say, don't ever say no to me. You can say, I really want you to be able to have a great sense of humor. And so these are the areas where we have to really watch that machines are going to overtake relationships. And there's a huge temptation there because it's a lot easier to interact with ChatGPT than it is to interact with a real life person who maybe holds different kinds of views. It's probably easier. It's certainly easier to design your own boyfriend or girlfriend than have to work through the real life challenges that somebody with a personality that you can't design and can't control is going to bring to your life. So I want Jen, and I'm going to stop talking here because I know that you've thought about this and worldview formation wise. I mean, like you are tip top. So I'll stop. Tell me what you think. Like, where is the line between yay machines and boo machines?
Well, and I like what you said too. ChatGPT is designed to sort of affirm us whenever we are asking questions, or when you correct it, it immediately takes your feedback and tries to do it the way you want. And so that's interesting. That's not like a real person. And the best friends we probably have are people who, will not always affirm you. They are loving and kind, but they're going to say, "Ooh, I actually don't think you did that right," or "You should have said it differently," whatever. And ChatGPT or AI is not designed to do that. It's supposed to be a tool that helps you. But thinking more about physical work and practical work, I agree. I liked your connection to, yeah, we use dishwashers and all those things. That's I don't see a problem with that. So I do wonder though, if we could offload almost all of our work, does that actually help humans in the long run? We're already struggling with being too sedentary, too on screens, not being outdoors enough, not being active enough. But, people who have 10 kids or something, and you have so much laundry, to have a tool that augments and helps you do work, it doesn't seem inherently wrong to do it. But I would agree, we would need to be careful how much we are relying on things. Definitely if we're using it, I never touch my kids. I basically have a robot nanny. That could be a big, because that's replacing relationship. That's really important. Versus we have a robot that mows the lawn. There could be some big differences there. So that is really interesting to think about.
Well, and all of these questions kind of come back to what does it mean to be human? And the answer is we're relational creatures. Like, if we are not doing relationships, we are not actually tapping into what it means to be fully human. But the other aspect of what it means to be human is we're made to work. Like, work was assigned and prescribed for us pre-fall. It's not a result of the fall. It's not a symptom of the curse. We are made for meaningful work, and we're made for work even when it's not meaningful sometimes. And that's the incredible thing about a relationship with the Lord, is even work that looks like it's mundane can take on incredible significance because you can do it unto the Lord. Because everything, the folding of the laundry, the taking out the trash, the being a garbage man itself, can be an act of worship unto the Lord. So I am all for machines that lighten the load when it comes to housework, because I do it, for me, in my world, it is a trade-off. Like, I can either run to the store or I can spend a little more time with my kids. I can either pick up the house or I can get on the phone, with my daughter and FaceTime her and connect with her, whatever. And thank God for those machines that allow us to talk directly to people that don't live close by. But again, we have to be really careful that all of these technologies and machines are facilitating relationships rather than replacing relationships.